Unsolved Mysteries in the Book of Revelation. Part 1. Introduction. The Shadows of Patmos. The flame of a single candle does not merely illuminate. It casts shadows. It creates a dancing boundary between what is seen and what remains hidden in the dark. This is the precise feeling one experiences when opening the final scroll of the New Testament. We approach the book of Revelation, seeking a roadmap of the future, a clear chronology of the end, but instead, we are met with a kaleidoscope of dragons, trumpets, celestial silence, and consuming fire. It is a book that reveals, yet simultaneously reveals. Imagine the aged Apostle John, exiled on the jagged, windswept island of Patmos. He is surrounded not by the comfort of the familiar, but by the crashing waves of the Aegean Sea, a sound that must have reminded him of the voice of God, described as the sound of many waters. In his solitude, the veil of reality was torn asunder. What he saw was so magnificent, so terrifying, and so alien to human experience that human language buckled under the weight of trying to describe it. We often treat Revelation as a puzzle to be solved, assuming that if we just find the right cipher, every symbol will align into a perfect picture. But what if the ambiguity is the point? What if the mysteries are not locked doors, but mirrors reflecting the limitations of our own minds? Tonight, by the light of this candle, we will not attempt to force the text into a modern headline. Instead, we will walk into the fog. We will examine the things John was shown, but forbidden to write, the numbers that have haunted mathematicians for centuries, and the silence that speaks louder than thunder. We embark on a journey into the unsolved mysteries of the apocalypse. Part 2. The Deep Dive. A. Historical context. The whisper in the empire. To understand why the mysteries of Revelation are so impenetrable, we must first anchor ourselves in the soil from which they grew. The year is likely around 95 A.D. During the shadow of the reign of Emperor Domitian, the Roman Empire was not merely a government, it was a theology. The cult of the emperor demanded worship, proclaiming Caesar as Lord and God. For the early Christians, refusing to bow was an act of treason punishable by death. In this atmosphere of suffocating persecution, apocalyptic literature serves a vital function. It is the literature of the resistance. It is written in code, using imagery drawn from the Old Testament, Daniel, Ezekiel, Zechariah, to speak dangerous truths without alerting the Roman censor. When John speaks of Babylon, his readers knew he meant Rome. When he spoke of the beast, they understood the nature of imperial power. However, it is a mistake to view the book solely as a political pamphlet for the first century. It possesses a telescopic nature. While it spoke to the 7 churches of Asia Minor about their immediate suffering, it also looked toward the horizon of history, to the final consummation of all things. The mystery lies in distinguishing between what is past, what is happening now, and what is yet to come. The text oscillates between the local and the cosmic, leaving us to wonder, are we reading a history book or a prophecy of tomorrow? B. Decoding the scripture. The sealed thunders and the number of man. Let us turn our gaze to the text itself, specifically to one of the most frustrating and fascinating moments in the entire Bible. In Revelation chapter 10, verses 3 and 4, John describes a mighty angel who gives a loud shout like the roar of a lion. Following this, 7 thunders utter their voices. John, the faithful scribe, prepares to dip his pen to record what the thunder said. But suddenly, a voice from heaven commands him, "Seal up what the 7 thunders have said, and do not write it down." This is a profound mystery. Why would God reveal something to a prophet, allow him to hear it, and then forbid him from sharing it with the world? If the Bible is God's revelation to humanity, why is there a deliberate redaction? Scholars have speculated for millennia. Some suggest the 7 thunders contain judgments too terrible for the human mind to bear. Others believe they contain the specific dates of the end times information Jesus explicitly stated belongs only to the Father. This unsolved mystery stands as a divine checkpoint, reminding us that we are not entitled to know everything. Then we arrive at the most debated riddle in history, Revelation 13:18. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. For 2,000 years, humanity has tried to pin this number on a specific individual. Through the practice of gematria, where letters function as numbers, people have identified the beast as Nero Caesar, whose name in Hebrew transliteration adds up to 666. Others have pointed to Hitler, Stalin, or various modern political figures. Yet, the mystery persists because the shoe never quite fits perfectly. Is it a specific person, or is it a symbol of humanity itself? In biblical numerology, the number 7 represents divine perfection and completion. The number 6, falling short of 7, represents human imperfection. Therefore, 666 could represent the ultimate culmination of human failure. Man trying to be God, man relying on man, a trinity of imperfection. The text taunts us with the phrase, "Let him calculate," drawing us into a maze of mathematics and theology that has yet to be definitively solved. C. Hidden theological meaning. The theology of silence. Beyond the codes and the creatures, there is a deeper theological mystery hidden in the structure of the book, the mystery of divine silence. In Revelation 8:1, the 7th seal is opened. We expect the climax, the final battle, the roar of victory. Instead, the scripture reads, "There was silence in heaven for about half an hour." Consider the magnitude of this. Heaven, the place of unceasing worship, where the 4 living creatures cry, "Holy, holy, holy," day and night without stopping, suddenly goes quiet. The harps cease, the angels fold their wings, the universe holds its breath. What is the meaning of this silence? It is perhaps the most terrifying moment in the Bible. It suggests that before the final judgment, there is a pause, a solemn, heavy realization of what is about to happen to the earth. It reflects the gravity of God's wrath and the sorrow of his judgment. It teaches us that God is not merely a chaotic force of nature. He is a personal being who grieves before he judges. This mystery of silence challenges our modern need for constant noise and activity. It suggests that the profoundest truths are learned not in the thunder, but in the quiet. Furthermore, the existence of the sealed mysteries, like the 7 thunders, teaches us about the sovereignty of God. As Deuteronomy 29:29 reminds us, "The secret things belong to the Lord our God." The fact that there are unsolved mysteries in Revelation is not a flaw in the text. It is a boundary for our pride. It forces us to trust the character of the revealer rather than the clarity of the revelation. We are asked to follow a shepherd, not just a map. D. Controversies and theories. The millennial puzzle. Finally, we must touch upon the controversy that divides the church more than any other, the millennium. Revelation 20 speaks of a period of 1,000 years where Satan is bound and Christ reigns on earth. Is this a literal 1,000 years that will happen in the future? This is the view of premillennialism, which envisions a tangible kingdom on earth. Or is the number 1,000 symbolic, representing a long period of time? This is the view of amillennialism, which suggests we are in the millennium right now, that Christ is currently reigning in heaven and through his church, and Satan is bound in the sense that he cannot stop the spread of the gospel. The text is ambiguous enough to support both views, and the implications are massive. Are we waiting for a kingdom to come, or are we living in it? Does the world get worse until Jesus saves it, or does the church transform the world through the gospel? The text refuses to clarify. It leaves us in the tension of the already and the not yet. This controversy reveals that the book of Revelation acts as a mirror to our own hope. How we interpret the millennium often says more about our view of history and our optimism or pessimism about the human condition than it does about the text itself. Part 3. Conclusion. The echo of the unknown. We have stared into the flickering light and caught glimpses of the 7 thunders, the number of the beast, the great silence, and the millennial kingdom. We have walked through the corridors of history and theology, only to find that for every door we open, two more remain locked. What are we to make of these unsolved mysteries? It is tempting to feel frustration, to demand that God give us the answer key. But perhaps the ambiguity is the greatest gift of all. If we knew the day and the hour, we would live by the clock rather than by faith. If we knew exactly who the beast was, we would stop watching our own hearts for the seeds of pride and rebellion. The mysteries of Revelation are not meant to be solved. They are meant to be inhabited. They are designed to keep us awake, to keep our lamps burning, and to keep our eyes fixed on the horizon, not for a code, but for a person. The book concludes not with a solution to a riddle, but with an invitation. The Spirit and the bride say, "Come." The ultimate resolution to the mysteries of the apocalypse is not an explanation, but an encounter. Until that day, when the sky rolls back like a scroll and we see Him face to face, we remain here, candlelight, watching, waiting, and wondering. The silence of the text is not an empty void. It is a space for our faith to breathe. And that, perhaps, is the greatest revelation of all.